I'd like to call the regular meeting of the county board for September to order. And would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody here today. Hope everybody's doing well. Mr. Clerk, when you're ready, call the roll.
Mr. Clerk is looking for his pen, and he must have sat down.
There's a pencil, pen. Here, I'll use a pencil. There's a pen.
I'll use Yeah, may I?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I got one though.
No, I got it. Thank you.
I got one that's better.
It'll show up here in a minute.
Carl.
Lawton. Here. Ludington.
Here.
Patrick. Here. Bruner. Here. Ellis.
Here.
Farnham. Here. Voigt.
Here. We do have a quorum. In fact, everybody's here. Next item on the agenda is to accept and approve the minutes from the August 11th regular meeting and the August 23rd special meeting. You've had those for a couple of days. Does anybody have any additions or corrections as they've been submitted to the clerk to you? Hearing none, a motion to accept and approve. Phil moves. Andy seconds. Any further discussion or clarification needed? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Claims against the county, you've had those for a few days. Are there any questions or clarifications that you need? Hearing none, a motion to approve the bills as submitted. Dan moves. Andy seconds. Anything further? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. They are approved. County board member claims, you've had those likewise for a few days. Are there any questions or clarifications on those? Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve them. Andy moves, Phil seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. They are approved. Next we have the public comment. We ask, come up to the rostrum and identify yourself by name and limit your comments to 5 minutes. Any public comments at all?
I'm not sure if this is.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay, Amanda Minor was supposed to be here today,
Yes.
and her father-in-law passed away unexpectedly.
Sorry to hear
So
that.
she sent us here to talk about a check.
When we get to that point on the
Okay.
agenda, and you're fine.
Okay.
And we appreciate you being
All right.
here. If there are any questions, they can direct them to both of
Okay.
you. How's that?
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, moving on, we have 3 highway resolutions. And at this point, it's been recommended to us that those 3 be tabled until after we have our meeting. If we're going to have the meeting next week with Andy and I and the bureau chief and whatever to clarify points that we've made on pavement preservation and some of the lower Terre Haute Road projects and so forth. We can discuss it if you want, or we can just have a blanket table at this point and move on. It's up to you. I'd accept a motion to table all 3 then. Andy moves. Dan seconds. All those in favor of tabling those 3 items signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. They are tabled. Okay, action on request for approximately $300 for the summer meal program. We heard from Amanda Miner. We have Lisa brought it, given us quite a bit of information. We talked about it on Tuesday morning, yesterday morning. So we have a fund that we can use to pay for that out of the rescue funds. And so we need to discuss more, I guess. No?
This, I think this is a valuable program, and if this board does anything, this is something positive.
I agree.
And I do think and I do believe that funding will be realigned, and there are interests in the county that I think will help make it a little bit more seamless next year, and the community will be there, okay? So that's what I understand. Yes.
Did you want to add anything to this or anything?
I guess I didn't really come prepared for anything. It was kind of last minute. She just got hold of us a little bit ago. We're grateful for anything that that can help. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, a lot of manpower that it takes to pull off sometimes 500 meals a day, 5 days a week, in different, all over the place.
I think you're the people that
Yeah,
provided the
wife and
meals
I-
from the on the
Yeah,
tracks.
we own the
Right.
restaurant.
I recognize him now,
We
yeah.
would definitely like for our county to get more involved in it, since
Right.
it has been funded by Douglas County for several years now. So it would be nice for our county to take part in that.
And I know Amanda is a great resource for everything. She does more of the paperwork part of it, and, you know, we just make the rest of it happen. So having her help us with it, you know, what I'm hoping is next year, before next year, we can get something lined out with everything, and she can show us and maybe have the school superintendents be part of it too. Get a lot of people involved just to make it a little more, we can do the part of the food, and that part of it is the paperwork, the funding and things like that we need help with.
We appreciate it.
And I've had some conversations with some school officials, and they're interested in getting involved in it for next year.
Yeah, we don't mind doing we don't mind doing our part of it, we just need help with the other part. I don't know the paperwork side of it. Amanda's taken care of it for 2 years, so.
Yeah, we maybe need to be talking to Amanda, because I don't know how far ahead of time she has to be working on the grants, you know, through the state and everything, so, you know, we don't want to get behind the 8 ball, so.
Lisa, can you coordinate that? And I think you and I also need to talk to Amy down in Effingham, and I can't pronounce her last name, I'm sorry, but she's with Job Corps, and see if we can't use some of the resources there that we contribute anyway. So, and the more people involved in this project, the better it is for the county.
I'll work on the health department.
Okay.
We have a meeting coming up this month, so
Okay.
I'll bring it up and.
We're definitely gonna need help in that part of it.
Right. I'm on
I
the
haven't had
department
direct
committee.
conversations with them,
Yeah.
with some of the women that work there, but there's a lot of pushback. They don't necessarily, what I've heard from, they don't want anything to do with it.
Right. I'm on the health department committee, so I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Andy, did you have something?
No, Amanda basically did it as a resident of Edgar County more than she did as part of the health department, didn't she?
Yes.
So,
Right.
I'm glad she did.
Right.
So that was all.
A motion to approve, and also in the motion to make sure that we stipulate that that money will come out of the rescue funds, which is eligible. Phil moves and Andy seconds. Are there any further comments, or anybody, even in the audience, if they want to make it? Well, hearing none, would you call the roll on that,
Yes.
please?
Lawton,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
It does carry, and thank you all. Okay, next we have a resolution authorizing chairman to cancel tax sale certificate 170165 for said parcel on 301 Wabash Street in Midcap, Illinois. And just to review with you, that means that somebody has purchased that property and it goes out of the protectorship of our agents. So, motion to or approve that resolution, please. Dan moves. Andy seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Lawton,
Yes.
Ludington,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Thank you, it does carry. Next, approve dispatch agreement with 911, between the Sheriff's Department and 911. So, Carl, did you want to say anything about it?
Do we have an agreement? That's what I was asking.
We've had agreements in the past, yes, and we've got I don't have a copy of it. And it's just basically a continuation of the agreement we've had. And what we do is figure the total costs annually for dispatching, and 911 pays they're paying 45% of the costs. Counties picks up 55%.
And then we'll be doing this again after the first of the fiscal year, correct? Okay. A motion to approve, Carl moves. Andy seconds. Roll call, please.
Lawton,
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner, Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
It is approved. Next, to appoint Chad Crampton, Chief, Paris Fire Department, the 911 Board, term to be expiring 11/30/23 due to the resignation of Brian Yates. Motion to approve that appointment. Dan moves. Russ seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is approved. Since we were doing that, Augie suggested that we just go ahead and clarify the appointments and terms that were coming due, which you see is for 911, Troy would be 11/23, Dave McCracklin would be 11/23, Marvin would be 11/24, and Jesse Lusader 11/24. Any discussions? Motion to approve. Andy moves. Carl seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are appointed. Next, to reappoint Scott Ball to the Rides Mass Transit Board for a term expiring 8/1/24. Do I have a motion to do that? He's been on the board and don't see any problem with it, guys, so. Okay. Phil moves. Carl seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, it is appointed. Next, we have the calendar, holiday calendar. Augie, you wanna kinda introduce that and say what the genesis is of it? And
Certainly.
what you think or don't think?
Yeah, every year the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in the state of Illinois sends down a holiday schedule. You should have a copy of that in your board packet. And traditionally, over the years, and maybe decades now, the board has acknowledged that particular schedule, but in addition has granted Good Friday as a holiday. And so that, I added that to the calendar. That's the only difference between the state calendar and what would be the county calendar. Just keeping in line with what we've been doing. New this year, what would be for next year, would be Juneteenth and also Election Day. Those would be two holidays that the state will be closed. Of course, my office will be open on Election Day, obviously.
I think it's been suggested by a couple of, by a board member who's looked at this, that maybe you might wanna look at it. We can table it to next meeting. I don't think it has to be passed immediately. It's up to you, though. I would remind you that, whatever's good for the goose is good for the gander. So whatever this is, it'll modify the contract with the jailers, dispatchers, and deputies. So, what's your pleasure?
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Juneteenth.
There's that, by adding these two, for next year, that makes 15 holidays. For years, we've just had 13. The holidays are a little different for the union. They've got 13 in their contract, but if we give additional, we have to do that. Currently,
Have a problem if we do that?
add costs, right? And then, of course, the Supreme Court, they have, on their thing, they have 14 holidays. And like Augie said, we added Good Friday, which is,
June
you've had
20th is a moving due.
June 19th. Well, Juneteenth is June 20th, yeah. I think, I would like to table it and let everybody kind of look at all these different things and the consequences of it, costs by adding these holidays, and, but that's my opinion.
Andy?
Now, what's our choices? What, we could not necessarily,
We can do whatever, we can change it to 10. We can do whatever we want.
right, even
You
though
know,
the Supreme Court,
the Supreme Court makes that for basically the court system, so that affects
Okay.
the judges, the circuit clerk's office, but it,
even though, so that's what the actual reasoning behind them doing that is. But we can make our
because
own.
we've done, in years past, we've done something different than what the court,
Okay.
Supreme Court, yeah, we seem like we've always done something a little different.
Like,
Because like last year, the Martin Luther King Day was taken off, and we added the day Christmas Eve
okay,
for this current year.
I can tell you.
But this year, Christmas Day falls on Monday, so, the calendar changes some of that stuff every year. But there's a financial aspect of it by adding the two holidays, for all the employees. And quite honestly, in my personal opinion, 15 holidays is an awful lot of holidays. Most people don't get near that many.
Okay. I think it's probably a good idea. Table
What,
table it till next time.
This is probably gonna be a stupid question. Juneteenth, somebody, can you explain that, what all that stands for or whatever? I hate to be stupid, but I wanna know.
That's a black holiday.
Slavery.
It's what?
It's celebrating the end of
End
slavery.
of slavery.
Oh, well, that's all right.
I think, me and Augie were talking, I think it might be a national
I
holiday.
kinda thought that ended in 1863, but
What's your pleasure? Do you want to table? Do you want to move on it? What would you like to
Carl,
do?
what do you,
Make a motion to table it.
Well, I'm definitely against the 15 holidays, if we want to discuss now what
let's
ones we
just
want to
table it till we
eliminate
get a chance to talk about it.
Is that a motion?
and look at all the different calendars.
I agree.
I'll get all that information for
I'll
you.
make a motion to table it then.
Andy moves, Phil seconds to table that. All those in favor?
Person, please.
No, not anymore. Sorry. That motion's not debatable. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Now you can ask your question, Dan.
Could you give us an idea how much that would cost for the 15?
I can work on that, yeah.
That was my question.
Right.
No, that's fine. I mean, once we have a motion
Oh,
to
okay.
table,
Okay.
that's, I'm
But
not
yeah,
gonna
I
cut
can
you off at the
come
knees,
up with
Danny.
that.
Okay. All right. That's just trying to-
Okay. Do we have anything else to act upon in that regard? Or is that it? Okay. Let's see, the next item is to reinstate the COVID leave policy until November 30th, 21, using the family first COVID Response Act as a guide. Basically, so you'll know, is if somebody gets COVID, we've got a couple folks that have COVID right now. What it does is it allows them to be paid with, and have the time to recover, hopefully they recover, and not use their vacation or sick time, okay? We're just trying to take care of folks in a way that's, you know, I think good and appropriate. The funds for, do you,
I don't know if I can make a public comment on this, but I do have one.
sure.
With the FFRCA time that you're talking about, the federal government offsets your payroll tax equivalent to the payroll that you're paying for that time.
Can you put that in English?
It means you get your money back for the
Well,
payroll.
we get our money back anyway because the Rescue Act funds that.
Yeah.
One way or the other, but it's a good point, yes. So, I mean, it sounds magnanimous, but a lot of folks don't do it, okay? They just ignore it. Yes.
And clarification, did you say it was 10 days that we were gonna use?
Yeah, I think
This-
it's 10. Is that what's in the policy?
Yes,
Yes, it's
sir.
10.
10.
I mean, a case-by-case basis, if somebody is on a ventilator and, I mean, I hope to God we don't have that, but, well, we may already have that actually. But at any rate, we're gonna take care of the employees. We wanted to have something that protects Don and Pam and payroll and whoever the administrators are to make sure that it's done correctly and everybody knows what's going on, okay? We've been taking care of folks all the way along. It just seemed appropriate to do it, to restate it, and then we'll reevaluate it in the first part of December, okay? Motion to reinstate that COVID policy leave. Please. Russ moves. I need a second. Carl seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, folks. Next, we're gonna go for department, is there any other regular business before we go to reports? Okay. Department officers and heads. Adam, you wanna go first?
Sure. You guys had a report from you, sorry I wasn't able to be here yesterday. But, August was our busiest month to date. I didn't factor in the MIHs, but we're into the average, but for the month, we were close to 300 calls between 911 transfers and mobile integrated health visits. So really busy month. For the 911s, we're still 26 minutes dispatched in or out, and you can see the rest of the times there. We had 5 mutual aid calls, 3 of those were assisting Crispin, and the other 2 were assisting Marshall. I'll let you guys look at the other numbers there. Then on the second page, as always, you have your runs by destination. Problem we're running into now is several hospitals are going on diversion, meaning we can't take patients there. Regional in particular has been shut down pretty much for the past week. We don't take a lot of patients to regional anyway, but hospitals filling up is definitely becoming a problem. So luckily, here locally, we're able to bring most of our patients, and really haven't had an issue of not being able to take a patient where they want to go yet, but it is coming potentially. You guys have any questions on these numbers before I move on to the next part?
You said you had 300 calls?
Close to it. So
184 911 calls? And what were the others?
184 911s, come down to the transfers. We have 35 emergent,
Okay.
28 non-emergent. Then move down to our mobile integrated health, our community visits. We had 27 of those, so you add all those up, it's not quite 300, but it's pushing those numbers. There were 4 days this month that I had 4 trucks on the road at one time. Our busiest day, we had 17, I believe. There's a couple days where we had 4 911 calls all at one time, so luckily we were able to get that 4th truck staffed.
These treated, refused transport, it was 35, is that part of the,
That is part of
out of the
the,
911
part
call?
of the 911, yeah.
Okay.
Any questions of Adam, other than what Carl just asked?
So,
Now, dental, or,
AEDs.
yes,
So I talked to Derek Weston. They are requesting 15 AEDs between the jail, the sheriff's department, or the squads, and the courthouse. I believe 3 of those AEDs are gonna go in the courthouse, 1 for each level, 2 for the jail, then the rest are for the squads is the way he made it sound to me, which that could potentially change once everything gets situated, but he did request 15. I talked to my Zoll rep and was able to negotiate a little bit. The price I gave you guys initially was $1639.75 per unit. If we buy 15, basically we're paying for 14 and getting the 15th one for free. So the total for 15 units is $22,956.50. And if we want to place that order, optimistically it's 30 days, potentially up to 2 months to get this.
How much were they a piece?
Just shy of $1,700.
But you give-
$1635 and change.
and that's with subtracting the one that we're getting for,
Yeah, so we're paying for 14, getting the 15 for free. The benefit of having those in all the squads is obviously a fairly large county. The PD can, or sheriff's deputy can get there before an ambulance can. Anytime an AED can save a life, I believe is worth the price point. So.
Sorry, I don't know the answer to this, that's why I'm asking, what kind of training do you need to use one of those? And do all of the squads, are they being manned by somebody who's trained to effectively use one?
All the sheriff's deputies have CPR AED training, then I will just go ahead and offer our services that we will train anyone who wants to learn how to use an AED. We won't even charge for that service. We're happy to provide that training because we believe so heavily in those.
And does that include selected courthouse staff, if we've got 3 here?
If, you know, we've provided some training at the courthouse already, but if there's more that want it, then we're happy to do that.
I knew they had, I just
Yeah,
wanted to.
there were several of us from the courthouse and the annex, and I'm not for sure anywhere else, that we went to CPR training, which did include an AED element to it.
Is one of the 3 for the courthouse, is it going, on each floor, maybe there should be, because I'm trying to imagine, Carl, do we have enough cars to put, I mean, that's 10 for the sheriff's department vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, there's several of them sitting down there, I don't know whether you,
Yeah, that's what I don't understand, but
Yeah.
That would be a question for Derek.
I don't know whether he's, just every vehicle we own, he wants to put one in it, but most of them sit there and not even get used.
well,
But-
I was just thinking that Don and Dina probably need one over at the
Yeah, I
annex.
just wondered if it included in the 15, if it included the one for the treasurer's office.
Again, that would be a question for
Yeah.
Derek.
We'll find out.
Right.
I just think it's important, and Adam and I talked this morning about this, to make sure that we're probably gonna use the rescue funds to do this, because this isn't in the budget. So I wanna make sure everybody's on board. We all wanna be on board, whatever we're gonna do, because we said we would not use the funds unless everybody was aware of what was going on, and we had a motion and a roll call vote to make sure everybody's on board with this stuff. Okay? And do you have one out there? Is yours up to date? Okay. All right. Comments? Yes, yes.
Yeah, also through our IPRF grant or rebate, we have enough in there that we could buy 1 unit. So,
Do you have other needs? I mean, that could be used for, or do you want, whatever?
yeah.
Or do you want to just add a 16th to make sure that we've got, I'm not sure, we need to get some clarification, I
Yeah,
think, from
I think
Derek
maybe.
before we.
Once you guys give me a number and a yes, then I can go ahead and get those ordered, but I'm gonna wait on your directive to do it.
I think we should confirm with Derek what the needs are.
Yeah.
At the sheriff department, then,
That's fine, and I did talk to him yesterday because I had remembered finally that we said we were gonna order some, and I had talked to him after that meeting here, 3 weeks ago, and I guess he'd already gotten with Adam, so we just need clarification. But if we need another one,
If we needed one more, then we do have through the IPRF grant.
okay.
You have one out there, Jill.
No.
Are some of them are presently expired?
They're getting close, right? Some are, it's the pad that
Pretty much come middle to end of 22, they will all be obsolete. So I want to give you guys enough time to plan ahead
I was
before.
gonna say, if it's like anything else, you better get them ordered. 'Cause,
especially if they need a chip in them.
yeah.
Well, you'll have to get with the sheriff's department.
Well, then do we need to come back and agree to it? Or, I'm just saying that we can't let this go. I mean, the price, how long is he, what is his
Because my
expectation?
initial quote was locked in until, I believe, the end of October.
Okay.
But obviously, the longer we wait, the potential is there that they may not be available.
Well, we're gonna have, and I was gonna explain, we're gonna have a special meeting here in a week or two. We're gonna have to, because well, it doesn't matter why. And we can include it in that and do a final report and a final approval, okay? Does that,
I'm not pushing you guys one way or another, I'm just
Okay, I
presenting
just-
the options.
I just wanted, we don't wanna drag our feet on this. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. So, what?
Well, no, I was just thinking, since it's well under the bidding statute, and you're gonna need what you're gonna need, I don't know where else you're gonna spend the money that could be more important than an AED. I would just get as many as you need and just buy them. I mean, that just me personally, instead of having to come back for another meeting, because we all agree we need them, and if the rescue funds are gonna fund them, it would make sense to me, just go ahead and get 16, 17, whatever. You can always, Jill doesn't have one. I doubt that the animal shelter has one. I doubt that the airport has one. So,
You wanna approve just up to 18 and whatever we need?
whatever.
How's that? Approve up to 18. We'll get with you in the next few days. Andy moved, and the motion to include out of the rescue funds. And Phil seconds. Are you okay with all that, guys?
So it's not an agenda.
And since it's not on the agenda,
Yeah.
is that, how do we handle that?
It's an administrative function.
But it's under budgets, under administrative function. We can ratify it later, okay? How's that?
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yep.
Just to cover our butts,
Right.
if you can say that on air. This is always live, by the way. So somebody in Springfield's listening to me drone on. Yeah, don't touch it. Would you call the roll on that, please? Even though it's not official. I mean, it's-
Luddington,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham,
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Thank you, folks. Adam, anything else, buddy?
That's all from me.
Thank you for that. Okay, Jill?
Well, probably most of you have gotten a letter from me. Most of you have probably gotten a phone call. We're having our hazard mitigation meeting. We said contracted American Environmental to redo our county's hazard mitigation plan. That meeting is set for October 5th at 6:30 at the Farm Bureau. So we plan on sending out reminders and stuff closer to. We are also in the process of switching over our emergency alert system. I've been doing some web training and things like that. I have another one scheduled for tomorrow, so we will be advertising, signing up and things like that, transferring data, all that kind of stuff here probably soon. I don't really have a time frame of when that will happen. Other than that, we were able to get a bunch of, a big lump sum of masks. Most of them for pre-K through third grade were reusable cloth masks, and then disposable masks from fourth grade up till 12th grade. We got, a pretty big quantity of those. So last week we dispersed those between the high school, Crestwood, and District 95, and then My assistant and I yesterday went to Kansas, Shiloh, and Crispin and gave them their masks. That's about it for right now.
Any questions of Jill, please? Okay, circle back. Aaron, do you have anything?
Any questions for the highway department?
Okay, Scott? Sure you have a few things.
I have a lot of things. Which is the rest of the board aware? of what's
Yeah, I
going on
made
in
the-
his office?
We made them aware, was it Monday?
Yeah, yes, I do.
A very frustrating
Tuesday, thank you.
circumstance. You know, I talked to Andy, I talked to Jeff. You know, the hospital 7 months ago agrees to extend the lease 4 more years. You know, now all of a sudden, they need that building immediately. You know, without going into detail, that's not what's happening here. This is a totally different situation. There was a person at play, and I'm not going into that. But this situation, so Andy calls me and tells me that the hospital, you know, I have no warning of this, the hospital needs the office back. And I said, okay, you know, what choice do you have? And I was pretty familiar with the lease as a 2-month, you know, they have to give a 2-month written notice, and I asked Andy how quick do they want it? And he said, like now, which is, is ridiculous, okay? Especially because I know the circumstances behind it. They are not in a situation where they need to house these doctors immediately. That's been something they've been dealing with for years. It was something they were dealing with when I became coroner, and I took that building over. So to get a call like that was beyond disappointing and beyond frustrating. You know, I asked Andy if they had given a written notice, and he said no, and Andy said he wasn't gonna require one, which is beyond me. I don't think that's right. I don't think that Andy has the ability to make that decision. I think they have to give a written notice, and I think I get every day of that 2 months. And on the flip, you know, none of you, I'm sorry, but not a single one of you have ever stepped foot in my office. None of you. So, you know, here we are, where you're required to give me an office, but yet I'm getting a phone call from a board member telling me that I have basically just to get out now. So the solution we come up with is, well, you know, there is no place, so I guess I'll have to put it in my house, which again, ridiculous, okay? So then, you know, Andy throws the idea out there, well, can't we just put a desk in the corner of, you know, the building that the sheriff's department has at the Highland Court? You know, couldn't we put one in there? And I said, no, because that lease says that's specifically a sheriff's department substation. And to be perfectly honest, that rubbed me the wrong way. I've spent, you know, this is going into my 13th year in the coroner's office, you know, going into my 6th year as coroner, hundreds of hours of training, and to think that I get a call and the solution is, can't we throw you in a desk in the corner of somebody else's office? You know, and I appreciate Jeff talking to me, and I mean that, Jeff. You talking to me helped me a lot. But, you know, the coroner's office has always been viewed as just something else. But it's viewed that way because you guys view it that way. The board, the active board members view it that way. It's been this way when Pete was coroner. It's been this way when David Dick was coroner. It's not a new thing. But the way this has been handled is beyond frustrating to me. I've worked very hard on getting that office up and getting it independent from anything else. And, you know, I can't fault the hospital. They're their own thing. The hospital worries about the hospital. You know, in this situation, it's one person worrying about getting, you know, getting a handover on somebody else. But that's not the situation here. It's that the county has never made the coroner's office a priority. You know, I sit here and I listen to all the dollar amounts that you're throwing out to other places, which is wonderful and very worthy cause. But I have to fight for everything from you guys. Everything. I don't get it. You know, like I said, the county code requires you to provide an office for me. It specifically names coroner in there. No offense to Jill or the animal shelter. It doesn't name those. They have offices. It doesn't name IT, but Ross has an office. But here we are, getting a call saying they want you out now. We're not gonna require them to honor their part of the lease. I don't know, it's for you guys to fix, it's not for me to fix, but not only as the acting coroner, but also as a resident, I'm frustrated with this situation. And I think that you guys have to fix it. And I know, and I keep getting told, oh, the new jail, you know, there'll be a place for you in there, that's wonderful. I'll enjoy hearing about this new jail 10 years from now like we did 10 years ago. But do something now, because I shouldn't, as an office holder, have to be considering putting this in my house. So.
Well, there's
I'm willing to
liability
answer anybody's
issues.
questions.
There's liability issues anyway. I
It's
don't see
yeah.
how it could be.
And like I said, at the moment, in a phone call like that, that's the only solution there is, because you can't put this stuff out on the road, obviously. So, you know, Andy said I could throw my conference table and my desk and stuff like that in storage at the highway department, which sounds wonderful. So, I mean, let's talk, because it's not something that needs tabled, it's something that needs solved.
What's been the, I guess part of the problem is that, I don't know that anybody ever asked for one before, did they? I mean, did David Dick ask for, I'm just saying that we just didn't have anything before.
It doesn't matter if they ask for it, Andy, it says that you have to provide it. The code says that you have to provide an office for the coroner. It may be an empty building, but you have to provide it. When Pete was coroner, he had to fight for you guys to give him a closet upstairs, and I'm the one that came and cleaned that closet out, because, and that was because you were expanding probation, and he couldn't even have his closet anymore.
Well, he had one tote in there and he didn't even know what was in it.
Because he had moved the other ones already to the funeral home. But you're required to provide an office.
Oh, then that's up to you, all of us then. That's not, we've all fallen then, if that's the
Well,
case.
absolutely. It's all of our responsibilities, and we're sorry
It
that
is
we've let
frustrating.
you
I'm
down.
not-
Okay?
And like I said,
We'll get it solved.
I truly appreciate you talking to me, Jeff, and I do mean that. It's my understanding, Andy didn't reply to me when I texted him last week, but it's my understanding they're going to allow me to use the garage. I don't know if they're gonna allow me to get mail there. So who
Yes.
knows where is that confirmed then?
Yes.
Okay, so I can get mail.
And I didn't respond because I talked to Jeff and he goes, I talked to Scott, don't worry. Hang on.
So I
All right.
can
Yes,
get mail
you
at this
can.
office, I just can't go in that office, but then I can have the cooler in that garage and the van, but again, no office space. It's gotta be fixed, guys, because, this temporary stuff of bouncing around and getting a call like that is not appropriate for an office at a county level. It is not.
Can I ask you a couple of questions?
Do that.
Aimed at solution. Whatever happened in the past, we just gotta move forward.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm.
All right, that's one of the things. That'll be more productive.
Yeah.
We probably will have to be finding another office for another county officer soon.
Okay.
We've got several options there that we can talk to First Mid. We can look around the square to see if there's some offices that are available.
And, you know, if you choose to yank the more cooler and the van and all that stuff away from the hospital, so be it. It would probably be getting best at that point just to cut ties with them anyway.
Well, and that's what we need to look at,
But, you know.
to give you a permanent home that you're not doing
Yes.
this all the time.
And the problem with the coroner's office, you know, you can't really beat around the bush, is yes, it deals with a very sensitive subject and at sometimes one that's not pleasant to be around for people. So it can't be in a place like the courthouse because you have to worry about smells, you have to worry, and I know that. It's gonna be hard, but number one, they have to give a written notice and then we get 2 months. You guys have paid the rent payment on time. We don't need, you know, we're not here to protect the hospital, we're here to protect the county. So,
I quite frankly didn't even think about the notice, you know, it's.
I did, because that was the only way I could keep this thing out of my house.
I guess I got the impression, you don't want it at your house.
It's not appropriate, and I don't even know if it's.
Okay, well, no, I got an email or I talked to you and I guess I thought you wanted to do that.
But at that time, you were telling me they wanted me out now, and when they wanted me out now, and there's no place to
Well,
put
I
it.
mean, when I say now,
As soon as you
as soon
can.
as you can, I don't think they're saying, you know what, you're on the street tomorrow.
listen, this is what you told me, so that's what I went with. So.
Moving forward,
Yeah,
okay? We need to get this resolved.
yep,
And we've got another officer we need to resolve at the same time, which we should probably try, if possible, to resolve those issues.
yep, I'm
together.
available any day, anytime, for any meeting, any questions, whatever.
When can we get together next week?
Yeah.
That's, yeah, whenever.
I'll definitely get together next week, just tell me,
Tuesday?
When do you want to do it? Monday, Tuesday?
we got something, is that next?
Well, where are we at?
14th?
We don't know.
I haven't heard that.
14th is the day,
That's what.
at 10 o'clock. But we can do Tuesday afternoon. We can make a couple of calls before then to see, kind of,
Just
there's,
let me know and I'll be wherever, whenever.
well, there's professional people out there that you can call and say, I'm looking for this. Do you have something that I can use? That might be a place to start. Don't commit yourself or us to anything, but at least we could find out what's in the community beforehand.
Sure.
And they,
And I don't know who you're looking for the other office, but, there are, there are.
well, right now, just to be frank, we've got a public defender that's in a wash closet.
Yeah,
Okay? I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not by much.
I get it.
And the public defender needs a home, and you need a home.
Yep.
Okay? So we need to deal with those issues. Okay?
Yep, that's,
And I will talk to, if you don't mind, I will talk to Ollie and have him pencil something down, just so we have it, that's going to deal with the lease.
Give us our notice, you mean?
Yes.
well, it starts at clock, it doesn't allow this to be pushed back. It's gotta-
Well, again, that's on me because I didn't know they were gonna talk about it, and they said, we'd like to see, we're gonna need that office, and as soon as possible, we'd like to have it back. And I should have done something as far as, and not even thinking about the lease, just trying to think about how things are, at any rate.
But I remember that part of the conversation we had out there was that the garage and all that could go on for a while, or?
Absolutely, they're not interested.
2 years, 5 years,
And that's
1
just- you
year?
don't
Well,
know,
we
and it's-
don't know,
We know that it's gonna end at some point, but
yes,
again,
we don't know.
just,
Sounds like we just need to get our own place and be done with them.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
It'll work out.
I know it will, it's frustrating, I hope that everybody understands why it's frustrating, because again, it's a county office, Augie's not gonna get a phone call that says, hey, start packing your stuff, Augie, get your mover lined up.
He might.
Well, that's the personal thing, but, no. But the fact that it gets treated differently is very frustrating.
When are we gonna meet next Tuesday?
I don't know.
Say Tuesday at 1?
Yes.
Tuesday at 1?
Can you do one?
Yeah.
Can you do one?
Make it work.
Well, it's the Building and Grounds Committee.
So
Yeah.
we're at,
Make sure we know, what you want too, now you, it said,
I need a garage bay that'll fit a van and a moored cooler, and I need a room, that enables me to have
Conversation.
and files,
I suggest out at the highway office
Yeah.
at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay,
Augie, can you make sure that the building committee is posted, please?
Next Tuesday
At 1
at 1
o'clock.
o'clock,
Yes.
Building and Grounds at
And
the
that's,
highway.
that's September 14th.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing it without my calendar.
And I'll take care of the other part of it with a call and ask them. And I will ask them what their intention is on the garage. So, and he may say, well, they can have it for 10 years. I mean, he's not going to, but I mean, at least get some.
I talked to him, he said, a couple, 2-3 years, because they don't, the garage isn't important.
We need stuff in writing, okay? So, he's right.
thanks for listening to me, I appreciate it.
Anything else, Scott?
No.
No, I wasn't trying to be.
Everything at the housing authority is going wonderful, so we're.
Hey, and we hear that, and I hear good things from the board.
Housing authority's doing.
Okay.
Some good comments.
Yeah, so, Anyway, thanks for listening.
Thank you. Jonathan, I know you talked to the board yesterday, but do you have anything additionally to talk about?
Yeah, I just wanted to make everybody aware, if you hadn't already received one, we have an open house at the Life Center scheduled for the 16th of this month. at
That's
4
next
p.m.
Thursday,
4 to
week
6.
from tomorrow. What time? 4 to 6?
4 to 6. Ribbon cutting at 4:30. I encourage everybody to attend. And that's all.
Just so you know, our intention is once we do have the special meeting, or, you know, it'll be on that agenda or the next agenda, okay?
Okay.
As far as your request for what we discussed yesterday morning, okay?
Thank you.
Callie, did you have anything you wish to address to the board?
No, thank you.
All right. Augie?
I'm gonna circle back to the holiday schedule,
Okay.
and as a department head, I'm gonna ask the board to please keep in mind that the county employees are some of the lowest paid workers in the county. And I don't think that a couple more holidays is gonna have a negative impact on the county in the big picture. So that's, I'll just ask you to please keep that in mind. So other than that, I don't have anything else unless you have questions for me.
Okay. Any questions? Did I miss anybody? Okay. The elected officials committee report. Dan, do you have anything? Andrea has her budget in.
Yeah, you know why, don't you?
Yes, because of your diligence.
That's right.
Okay?
Can I go to the bathroom?
She just doesn't
Can, yes,
see-
please. I don't know, can you?
Oh, yeah.
Don't, what did I tell you?
No, we will get on the voucher next. I want to get the budget done first.
Yes.
The
All
voucher
right.
for the.
I know what you
skating and
mean.
so forth.
In other words, to assist citizens that may not have the resources to get their pets neutered.
And I've talked to the vet out east of town. They were receptive, but they want more money than what we had talked about. But you know, $75 to spade or neuter an animal is not that much money.
Is that what he wants?
That's what they wanted out there, yeah.
Well, if you gave them a $40 voucher, they could have their animal
Right.
taken care of. I'm just saying hypothetically, they could have it done for 35 then. We've got well over almost $12,000 in
Right.
that fund.
We'll work on the criteria in
Okay.
order for them to get the voucher.
Thank
I'll be
you.
back in a minute.
Have a nice time. How terrible.
Take the-
Andy,
that's the day off.
I did get got back on the boiler.
leave quietly, please.
Kids.
The boiler at the jail. Refrigeration came in at basically 22.8.
Just the material?
No, that's putting it in.
Really?
Yeah. You ought to see the boiler. This
Was
is
it
a
like,
picture of it.
like,
Compared to what the boiler that's down there now, you need two of them. And he said, he goes, I suggest you put in a water softener, we had talked about doing that anyway, and they need one, so I said, just include that in, so they'd probably add about 1,000 more to put a water softener.
so for two of the units, it's 22, 23?
I'd say 23.8, because I want a water softener in too. They need one for the whole place, because when we put all that plumbing in, the water, you need the water softener, so.
No, agreed. We put one in here, didn't we? Or we should.
Well, yes, there's one for the boiler, for
Right.
the steam system
Right.
here, and they need one down there. We talked about doing it down there, I thought, anyway,
Does anybody object to Andy taking care of that?
do you wanna go ahead and have them do it?
Well, it's not, I'm only one of 7, that's
Okay.
why I asked the board.
Because
We
I
don't
would
want it
get
going
on-
out in January,
Right.
and then we
I mean,
can't,
I asked him, I said, are they having problems? He said, no, at this point, he said they should be able to get it, so, but I wouldn't mess around too long, because it might get cold before.
and the
it gets
money's
done.
in the budget.
So, ahead and let them do it.
Anybody
I'm saying,
object?
yeah, do you wanna take a roll?
No, it's not on the agenda, man.
Okay, just go ahead
So-
and do it. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I'll tell them to go
And it's
ahead.
under our bid
That's
bid
what I
criteria.
really thought it was gonna be a lot more than that,
Wow.
so.
Okay,
okay.
anything else?
Nope.
Russ? Carl?
No.
Lisa?
No.
Couple things, Don's office, you know, it has personnel, illness that's kind of kept him from being with us so much and getting some things done for the budget. We'll have to see where that winds up. I called and talked to Mark, yesterday afternoon, or yesterday late morning, doesn't matter. At any rate, and he's gonna get with the judge and design the budgets and start making things happen. And we'll talk about that more at the special meeting, along with, possibly Jonathan's ask. And it seemed like there was one more thing that we're gonna do too, but he and, the judge, Steve, will take care of getting the budgets together sometime early to late next week so that we can get them into Don. Do my very best to get you a budget fairly soon. Everybody's doing good on, or doing well on getting everything in. We have gotten no income from any of our state agencies, you know, that we normally get in, which is not uncommon because today is the 8th, and normally we get that about now. So, in the next day or so, but financially, good. A minus, so we're doing good. You've got a new copy of the budget, in case you have any questions on some things. The accruals have all been done and caught up. The sheriff's department had some extra codes that they were using that weren't in the budget, and we've met a couple times and got that cleared up.
So is that reflected in this?
Yes. Now, there is a few items, and I can't remember which one it is. It's one of the things that's out of whack, where we've spent like 30 and we've only got 30 or 20 in the budget. Hang on a second, I think I can put my finger on that pretty fast. Sheriff deputies part-time is not correct. And once Pam gets back, we'll get that squared away. Correctional officers, that is correct.
Part-time?
Yeah, the description needs to be changed, but that is correct. So we've added a couple things so that to the budget, so that going into next year, everybody's on the same pages. But for the most part, except for that one on part-time correctional officers, everything else is pretty good in there, okay? And the correctional officers, part-time, well, there's 3 items in there still that are off. 50-40, 50-30, and 50-22, which Pam was gonna correct and hasn't done it yet, okay?
I know that correctional overtime, it shows $0 spent.
Right, some of
That's
it
right.
goes into that one, okay? But it's correctional officers that were the biggest problem, and some of the coding from above was, well, we got it squared away. And, so, well, but for the most part, everything in the budget, there's an item under administration where, GIS is not reimbursed. One of the categories where we're over on budget, property tax finance, on 9515 on page 14, we show $72,500 worth of expenses, and that should be 15,000 less in expenses because GIS contributes 15 to 20 grand to that item, and that needs to be adjusted. But for the most part, you know, this is a big budget, you know, we're talking $5,685,000. You know, there's gonna be difficulties, that's a technical term, but we just gotta keep working on them.
I had one question for Scott while he's here. Earlier I was looking at you bought storage shelves.
Yep.
What is that for?
That's because a lot of that stuff is stored in the office and,
So have you already vacated that office?
no.
So just go out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's still, still mine.
So.
Those shelves, yeah, all the body bags and toxicology equipment was all stored inside the office, so that shelving is for shelving put in the garage, so I at least have a place to store that stuff now.
So you bought this and you took stuff out of that office in the garage for the time they were at night?
Yeah.
Also, continuing the airport, I talked to Barry a couple times in the last 48 hours. We did get finally reimbursed about $12,800 for the light that we replaced ahead of time. We finally got that check. We got a check for $54,000 and another check for $2,200. And we have to pay Hanson's for the last project about $44,000, so that bumps us up about $13,000 in that account. Additionally, we were made aware, and I think I told you about that yesterday, for more CARES money for the airport of $31,000 to reimburse us for expenses in the future and in this past year. So, and I think there'll be more coming, but Tom is working on making sure all that's turned in correctly and amending the budget that we have with the Division of Aeronautics. Levy-wise, you got me the last stuff yesterday and should have the levy to Augie by the end of the week when he, I can't judge when he can have it ready, but that'll be ready fairly soon, and it's only my recommendation. We can take a look at it. The levy funds are the only ones that really change because of needs for Social Security and for tort. Tort has gone up quite a bit over the last couple of years, so that one's going to be up to about 25, and Social Security about 50. Okay. So, but those are really we have no choice because we have to pay them. We do have a new agent that I'm familiar with, and what was his name again?
J.R. Abernathy.
Right. And we need to get with him, Andy, or I know you don't have anything else to do. We need to find out where and what he thinks is going to happen on our insurance, our general liability policy. And I wanted to point out that our work comp policy, which we were paying about 50 to 60, is now 90 to 100. It has jumped up a bunch. During an audit, we got bumped for an extra $14,000 from last year, and that's included in that. I think, and I talked to Augie about this yesterday, and I don't know whether you got a hold of JR yet, but we were going to give notice to, what is it?
IPRF,
That
Illinois Public Risk Fund.
Right, that we were going to look at possibly canceling them. Doesn't mean that we can't go forward, but we've got to give them notice, 90 days out?
Yes.
Otherwise, we're tied into whatever they say. And I think we probably want to work with JR in finding hopefully a better deal than that. But that'll give us the flexibility to do that or stay with that company. But if we don't give them notice, we're SOL. So, questions? I'm sure I forgot. Oh, on the airport, they have come up with a solution for the taxiways, and that's a mixture of lime and concrete to mix with the base material in order to get that squared away. But the Division of Aeronautics has not given us one iota of idea whether they're gonna approve and move forward or what. I'm not hopeful, quite frankly, that anything's gonna be done before now and next spring. I mean, our engineer goes, I'm still hopeful, and I don't know. We'll see. It's an issue out there, and every time I see it, it's just an eyesore. So hopefully we'll get something resolved there. Okay, didn't mean to end on a downer, but we can't do what we can't do, so. Other issues that you feel are important or good for the order of the county? The only thing I'd like to say from the chair here is that everybody needs to look out for everybody else in this community, in this county. We need to, if you've got a problem, address it. We're not advocating that everybody should be mandatorily have shots, but wear masks if you're not feeling well. Just be careful and it's not just yourself that you're worried about, it's other people, family and friends. And I just admonish everybody to do the best they can to just make this a safer community and a county, okay? So I don't know whether that's appropriate, but I personally think it is. And everybody should do their job and share. So that's all I've got. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Hold it.
Hold it.
You got a
Oh.
closed session item.
I'm sorry. Yes, closed session. Motion to go into closed session for closed session minutes. Russ and Andy? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We are in closed session as soon as the room clears. We will come out and vote on that, okay? So, sir. Okay, we've come out of exec session after reviewing our closed minutes for closed sessions. Is there a motion to keep the minutes closed? Andy moves. Phil seconds. We don't need a roll call, do we? Or do you?
I think we have in the past.
All right, roll call.
Lawton,
Yes.
Luddington.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
It is closed. Thank you. There being no further business to officially come before the meeting, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Andy moves. Russ seconds. I had to catch up because you just were here slow. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.